Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchable News. It's Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. Let's get in the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, where John Thune is winning, confirming judges. Number two, Democratic incumbents to watch. And number three, what Chairman Guthrie told us about AI. All right, Jake, let's get into it. We have a great item from a sit-down that our very own Andrew Desiderio and Laura Weiss had with Senate Majority Leader John Thune. We've talked a lot on this podcast about the divisions between him and the president, between him and Speaker Mike Johnson on strategy. But there is a shining light here for Thune when it comes to what Republicans are doing and the pace at which they're doing it with confirming judges.
When you read this item, keep in mind that one of the complaints that Trump has had about the Senate is the blue slip process,
Right.
Returning blue slips, the ability for home state senators to block some nominees of a president, regardless of party. And Thune is basically saying, actually, look at what we're doing here. We're setting records. We're doing a great job. So, yes, that is one of the big undercurrents of what John Thune is saying. Also important to note, the Democrats are making John Thune burn up a lot of floor time en route to confirming these nominees, which is a pain in the neck, although not that big of a deal. And in the fall and in the coming months, they are going to have challenges on the blue slip front, Anna. They're going to have to fill some positions in Democratic states, which is a pain in the neck because of the blue slip process. But so far, John Fetterman, Gary Peters, and Alyssa Slotkin have all returned blue slips for district court nominees. So what do you think about all that?
Super interesting. Listen, I mean, I think this is where Thune had success in Trump's first term, going back to the area where they can kind of make progress here. I think it is interesting. A lot of people obviously thinking about what the Supreme Court is going to look like. Are there going to be retirements for a variety of reasons?
What a wild story, huh?
Man, seriously. But I thought it was interesting. Well, Thune being quoted here saying, "We're prepared if it should happen," adding that it would become top priority for Senate Republicans. So he also expressed confidence that he could pull off a lame duck confirmation if necessary, a prospect that is certain to infuriate Democrats, especially if they win the majority in November. So Thune basically saying the parlor game in Washington, is somebody going to retire or not at the Supreme Court? Senate Republicans will be ready to move swiftly if that does happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're referring to Samuel Alito, who NPR reported and then retracted that he was going to resign. There's a lot of unfounded theories that he is actually going to resign. I don't know, Sam. So,
well, Justice Alito, we don't know personally. That is correct. So,
and I don't know if he's going to retire anytime soon. So anyhow,
but worth noting that Thune is ready to take up the mantle. If not, also one quick note here: Representative Neil Dunn, the Republican from Florida, Jake, has not voted since June 11th, and we are now reporting. I believe this is M. Lutemeyer here, new reporter for us. Very excited to have her on the team covering House Republicans with you. She's reported that Dunn isn't voting unless House Republican leadership needs him to, because he hasn't been feeling physically well enough to return to the Capitol. He's retiring, but is finishing out his term.
Yes, he has what has been described by a lot of people as a terminal illness, and he's not been a regular presence, let's say. All
right, Jake, let's go to the number two story of the morning. A smart item here this morning by Max Cohen and Ali Mutnick. Basically going state by state, race by race, and looking at the incumbent Democrats and what are some of those races to watch following the stunning defeats of Senator Michael Bennet in Colorado in his bid to become governor. And Representative Diana DeGette, the Democrat from Colorado, who just the latest, right, of these kind of longtime Democrats who have faced anti-incumbent, the fervor in the party and are losing their spot. So really interesting. Connecticut, I mean, Michigan, a lot of places that this could potentially play out.
Let's just run them down quickly. John Larson, 77 years old, is in a tough race against Luke Bronin, the former mayor of Hartford. Shreve Anadar has his own problems in Donovan McKinney, who has consolidated progressive and black establishment support in Hawaii. Ed Case has problems. Ed Markey in Massachusetts, there's a very close race there. He's being challenged by Seth Moulton. There was a poll yesterday that had them neck and neck. I don't know what to believe there, but we'll see. Wesley Bell, the newly elected Democrat from Missouri, is facing a rematch with Cori Bush, who he defeated. So another run at that. And in California, Doris Matsui has a tough race in the fall, and Mike Thompson faces a well-funded challenger in Eric Jones. Jimmy Gomez has a challenge from Angela Gonzalez Torres in Los Angeles. So, Anna, the anti-incumbent thing is rolling along here.
All right, let's move on to the number 3 story of the morning. We sat down yesterday with House Energy and Commerce Chair Brett Guthrie, the Republican from Kentucky, focusing on America's 250, but really what his role is in regulating AI and the failure of at the federal level for them to find a pathway forward. Guthrie is in all of those conversations, spoke a lot about it, acknowledged the concerns about data centers, about energy and power, and saying that basically Congress needs to listen, but they do need to act and kind of acknowledge some of the challenges and the differences of opinion, but still was pretty optimistic, Jake, that he thinks something could get done before the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think just to be a little bit skeptical. Yeah,
I'm not saying I agree with them.
But you know how I feel.
I do.
I feel that AI politics, especially data centers, is going to be one of the most impactful political arguments of the next couple of years. The data center story and power and water and NIMBY concerns, all this stuff is just incredibly, incredibly interesting and something that's going to drive the conversation over the next few years.
Yeah, it is worth taking a look. I mean, he had a lot to say, and he is front and center when it comes to that debate, as well as talking about how some of his, the challenges with some of his colleagues now calling for a national moratorium and what the impact of that could look like with the arms race with China when it comes to AI. So encourage you to check that out. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media, tell your friends. It's the best way to find out about us. We have a special edition of The Canvas coming out later this morning. It's a special edition focused on America's 250 issues that staffers think are going to be top of mind in the decades to come, as well as where the sentiment is going into the midterm election. A lot of really interesting information. Be on the lookout for that. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.